Right then guys, how's it going and welcome back to Your Football Predictions, the series where we try and predict all of the upcoming Premier League football. This video we are doing Game Week 19 Part 1. And the reason it's Part 1, as some of you guys might know if you do fantasy football, this week is a double game week, which means we've got a handful of teams who actually play twice. And rather than doing it in one big go, we're going to do the weekend and Monday games today for part 1. And I'll come back on Tuesday and we'll do part 2 for all the games that are on during the week. But before we get on to this weekend's games, those were my predictions from this week. There was only 6 games on. And the Spurs-Villa game actually got changed to the Spurs-Fulham game. So there wasn't many predict. But I managed to get one right. I got that Everton would beat Wolves 2-1. And as always, loads of you guys got involved. So thank you to everyone who commented, liked and watched the video. I think I had about a handful of people who got 2 correct scores. But just one person got 3 correct scores. And that was Binky. So well done to you, mate. As I said, loads of people got involved and you were the only one to get 3 correct scores, so well done. And remember, if you want to be shouted out in my next predictions video, which as I say will be Tuesday, be sure to get your predictions down below for this weekend and Monday's night games. All the games are listed in the description, and as always we will go through the games now. So I'm actually recording this on the Thursday night. I've just finished watching the Arsenal Crystal Palace game, but it is Friday for you, so happy Friday. And the game that was meant to be on Friday night has been pushed back, so we have Saturday 12:30 on BT Sport is our first game of the weekend, and it is Wolves taking on West Brom. So Wolves currently sitting in 14th place. They did lose their game the other night against Everton 2-1. They are still without their main man Jimenez up top. Hoping for a speedy recovery for him because it is a serious injury and it isn't helping Wolves at the moment. Their last 5 games they've drawn 2 and lost 3, which you know isn't the greatest of form. Taking on a West Brom side who we know are on poor form and are actually on the same form as Wolves at the minute, having drawn 2 and lost 3 of their last 5 games as well. Currently sat down in the relegation zones, 6 points from safety now. They do have a game in hand on Brighton, so you know the game in hand, if they're able to win it, that's 3 points. But I don't know what you guys think of Big Sam. I mean, it's too early to tell. As I said when he came in, it depends whether they get relegated or not, you know, as to whether it was a success. I mean, in terms of this one, we've got 2 teams with the same form in the last 5 games, but I've got to say, I think Wolves are the better side, and I've backed them 1-0. Next up on the Saturday, 3 o'clock on Sky, we have got Leeds taking on Brighton. So Leeds sitting in 12th place. They didn't actually have a game this week, which means their last game was New Year. It's good being organised. It was on the 2nd of January, a Premier League game anyway, when they lost against Spurs. So, you know, they've had a pretty decent break because Brighton did just play the other night when they lost against Man City 1-0. I've already mentioned Brighton. They are just above the relegation zone by 2 points, but Fulham behind them have got 2 games in hand. So they are going to want to try and, you know, beat, well, you wouldn't believe it, but beat a promoted side, you know. Leeds have just come up and, you know, by all accounts are doing quite a lot better than Brighton are right now. Almost 10 points more at this point in the season. I've backed Leeds to win 2-0. I think attacking wise they've looked really good. And as I say, Brighton, I mean, their last 5 games they've drawn 3, lost 2. So yeah, I'm backing Leeds 2-0. Next up again on the Saturday, but at 3 o'clock on Prime, we have got West Ham taking on Burnley. So West Ham currently sitting in 10th place. So, you know, mid-table, but just 6 points off 3rd. So, you know, pretty much halfway-ish through the season now, and just 2 wins away from being in the top 4 spot is a very good position to be in. their form in the last 5 games: won 1, drawn 3, lost 1. Their most recent game was actually in the Premier League, was ages ago on the 1st of January when they beat Everton. And I'm not sure what the striker situation is with West Ham at the moment. It looks like Haller's gone. I think it's going to be Antonio is the main man once again, providing he can stay fit. As for Burnley, currently sitting in 16th place, they are 4 points ahead of the relegation zone. And have been on decent form. You know, I've spoken about Burnley a little bit in my recent videos. You know, they started the season with the first, was it 8 or 9 games? I think they had 1 or 2 points. You know, and all of a sudden, they've pulled themselves back to a decent position. You know, they want to be further away from that relegation zone. But the last 5 games, they've won 2, drawn 1, lost 2. You know, which isn't bad going at all. And they did lose 1-0 against Manchester United the other night, but it was quite a tight game. I've gone 1-0 West Ham. I think it could be a relatively even game. Antonio back with a bang, scoring a goal, could be. I don't think Burnley are an easy team to break down, which is, you know, Manchester United just won the 1-0 as well. So, yeah, let me know what you think down below. Next up on the Saturday, again, but at 5:30 on Sky, we have got Fulham taking on Chelsea. So Fulham currently sitting in 18th place, just inside the relegation zone, but 2 points off Brighton, who are just outside the relegation zone. And Fulham have got 2 games in hand as well. So if they were able to win those 2 games in hand, they would go 4 points ahead. You know, which isn't going to be easy when they're taking on Chelsea. I mean, Fulham's form, I think they've drawn the last 5 games in a row, which, you know, is definitely better than losing. I think they've definitely picked themselves up, and can they go on and get a 6th consecutive draw against Chelsea? Maybe. You know, Chelsea are currently sitting in 9th place, which I was actually surprised by. They have not been on good form recently. In the last 5, they've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 3 in the Premier League. Still 6 points off 3rd. And, you know, I would actually say big up to Fulham for pulling off getting the draw against Spurs. You know, they got pulled into that game pretty much last minute. They've not had much rest at all. Now they're going into the Chelsea game. I've backed Chelsea to win it 2-1. However, would I be surprised if Fulham got a 6th draw in a row? No, probably not really, because I think Fulham are really fighting hard for that Premier League status, and Chelsea are just inconsistent. You know, that's the best word to use. They're a great side, they've got great players, just the inconsistency. So could it, you know, I have a spin on that one? Quite possibly, but I've backed what is most likely the favourite with a 2-1 win. Next up again on the Saturday, but 8 o'clock at night on BT Sport, we have got Leicester taking on Southampton. So Leicester currently sitting in 4th place, also 4 points off the top spot. A win this weekend, well, yeah, could see them go 2nd, depending on what happens in all the other games. The last game they played was also ages ago in the Premier League on the 3rd of January. So, you know, 2 weeks ago, pretty much, when they beat Newcastle, of course. Taking on Southampton, who are sitting in 7th place, 3 points off 3rd. Again, you know, what a season Southampton are having. To be within 3 points, you know, of a top spot halfway through the season is cracking. Last game they had was also a while ago, which was the 4th of January in the Premier League, and they beat Liverpool 1-0. So no doubt they will want to continue on with, well, in fairness, looking at their form, the last 5 games they'd actually drawn, lost, drawn, and then beat Liverpool. You know, so if there's a way to bounce back with a bit of form, it's that. I've gone 1-1. I've very much sat on the fence for that one. And you know, there's also been talk about whether this game will actually go ahead as well. So bear that in mind. Predictions in anyway. You know, fingers crossed everything can go ahead as planned. Moving on to the Sunday now at 2 o'clock on Sky, we have got Sheffield United taking on Spurs. So Sheffield United, 20th place, but they got the first win of the season against who? Well, it was going to be Newcastle, wasn't it? It had to be. I said it in my predictions video for the games that if you want to play anyone to turn around some poor form, you play Newcastle. This season when Derby went down with the worst Premier League season ever, they beat Newcastle as well. So it was written in the stars that we were going to lose that game. What can I say? Big up Sheffield United. They played well. Newcastle went and got themselves a red card with half the game to go. And I'll talk about Newcastle a little bit more in a bit. But yeah, well done Sheffield United for getting their first win. The downside is that they are still 9 points away from getting out of that drop zone. However, you know, the bottom 4 teams, they are the only team to have won a game in the last 6. So maybe this is a starting point for them. Taking on a Spurs side, who are currently sitting in 6th place at the moment. 3 points off second, 6 points off first. Who did just draw against Fulham. You know, I mean, I've backed Spurs. I've gone 1-0. Can Sheffield United do it again against Spurs like they did against Newcastle? Quite possibly. You know, the whole league is beating each other. That's why people in 10th place are still within 2 wins of a second place finish. You know, it is so tight at the moment and anything can happen. Can Sheffield United do enough now to get themselves out of that relegation zone? You know, there's time, especially when no one else around them's winning. Can they do it against Spurs? I'm not so sure. I just feel like because Spurs drew against Fulham, Mourinho is going to have them really working for this one and making sure that they get something out of this game. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Next up again on the Sunday at 4:30 on Sky, we have got Liverpool taking on Manchester United. So Liverpool currently sitting in 2nd place, Manchester United sitting in 1st place now after their win against Burnley the other night. They did have a game in hand, which they've now won. So both Manchester United and Liverpool have played 17. With Man United 3 points ahead. What do I predict for this one? I mean, it could literally go either way. You know, I think Liverpool have had a bit of defensive troubles down to injuries. You know, I was reading up that they think Matip might be back. And if he is, he will play. If not, they're then looking at potential. Do they play one of the young lads, Phillips or Williams, or will they drop Jordan Henderson into that back line? So, you know, when you're trying to mix and match a little bit, there's always potential trouble there. But, you know, Manchester United, you know, I wouldn't say have had the most solid defence either. It's a good job they've got players like Bruno Fernandes and Rashford who can score the goals. So if they concede 1 or 2, it doesn't always matter. So maybe we will see a bit of a slobber knocker, goals galore in this one. I was tempted to sit on the fence, but I already did that with Leicester Southampton and I didn't want to do it with 2 predictions, so I have backed Liverpool 2-1 again. I mean, let me know what you think. Honestly, it could be one of those games that's so tight from start to finish, or we could see a goal within the first 3 minutes from an error or a mistake, and then all of a sudden it's wide open and both teams are going for it. Like or it could be a penalty decision. It could be literally anything to divide these two. So yeah, that's what I've gone for. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Final game on Sunday night, we have got at 7:15 on Sky. We have got Man City taking on Crystal Palace. So Man City currently sitting in 3rd I've put back to winning ways ? You know, they didn't have the greatest start to the season. However, they are now sat up in third place and have won their last 4 games in a row and do have a game in hand over Liverpool and Manchester United. So if they were able to win that game in hand, they would move to second, 1 point behind Manchester United. So, you know, they are playing better. I mean, the game against Brighton, they managed to get the 1-0. Sterling came on for 8 minutes and managed to miss a penalty in that time. I've got him in my fantasy team, but thankfully I free hitted, so I did not get minus points for Sterling, thank God. Taking on a Crystal Palace side who are currently sitting in 13th, 9 points off third. You know, is that a little bit too much of a stretch? I mean, if they can go on a little bit of a win streak, everyone else is winning and losing. If they're able to pull something off against Manchester City, who knows where they could go. The last 3 games they've drawn 2-1-1. And as I say, I've just finished watching the last game because it was against Arsenal and they drew 0-0. So, prediction-wise, again, I've backed the favourite. I have gone 2-0 Manchester City. Could Palace cause an upset in this one? Possibly. You know, it's definitely not impossible, as I say. But, again, a bit boring. I've backed the favourite. But, you know, people like Kevin De Bruyne are looking great. Was it like you had the most shots of any midfielder all season in the game against Brighton, but still didn't score? You know, if he has that many shots against Palace, you'd imagine at least one of them would go in. But, yeah. Predictions down below. And the final game, the Monday night game. We have got Arsenal taking on Newcastle. I don't even want to talk about it, if I'm completely honest. I should have just not done this game and then just came back and did the Tuesday games next week. I mean, for Arsenal, Arteta, you know, I was saying, you know, we always believed in Arteta. No one ever doubted him. And then drawn against Palace 0-0. I mean, Arsenal, the last few games, well, they had won 3 in a row before the draw against Crystal Palace. And as I say, if you want to turn your look around in the media, all you've got to do is play Newcastle United and we will sort you out with a lovely win. And Arsenal only just beat us 5 minutes ago in the cup as well. You know, Newcastle United 15th place, 7 points ahead of the relegation zone, which, you know, makes it sound... Well, what does it make it sound? You know, I don't even know anymore. Our last 6 games, we've lost 4 and drawn 2. We've got worse form than Burnley. We've got worse form than Brighton and Fulham. We've got worse form than Sheffield United. You know, but according to the media, Brucey's doing a good job. Although, to be fair, I think it's even got to the point now, because I was listening to some Talk Sports snippets, and even the guys on there are starting to slate Brucey now. It's only taken you 9 months to come round to the thinking we've all had for the last however long. But thanks for jumping on the bandwagon once it is probably too bad that you can continue ignoring it. But enough ranting from the crazy Newcastle fan. I've gone 1-0 Arsenal. You know, the only thing I would say is, and we'll do it every time, you know, we'll lose against the promoted side. We lost against Leeds. It was useless. And then we drew with Liverpool. We lost against Sheffield United. It really was useless. And then we'll probably go and do something against Arsenal. You know, so there is a caveat in there. But if we play anywhere near how we did the other night against Sheffield United, I can see it being much more than 1. So, yeah, 1-0 Arsenal. Let me know what you think down below. And that is it, guys. So those are all of my predictions up there for the weekend and the Monday night game. Be sure to get all of your predictions for these games down in the comments below. As always, I will go through all of your comments, make a note of them, and shout out the winner in my next prediction video, as I say, which will be Tuesday, because we'll go through the midweek games coming up. Remember to get your predictions in before the first game kicks off, which is Saturday at 12:30. At that point, I'll make a note of all your scores. If you are a little bit late and maybe want to put your predictions in for the games later on in the day or maybe for the Sunday games, I do come back and check. So don't feel like you can't get involved if you are watching this a little bit late. Just predict the games that haven't happened yet. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching, guys. Do drop a like and subscribe if you are new. I know loads of you guys watch this video but haven't hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't, please do, because it is a massive help. But yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.